everyone, welcome back to my channel. I am Jessica and this is A Fields Full House. So a couple weeks ago we did a video collaboration on how to homeschool children of multiple ages. We get asked that question all the time. Well, in there I had mentioned about homeschooling because a lot of how I get done in our homeschool is because I have older kids who can help me now manage the chaos. So in that video, I mentioned, if somebody needed some ideas on homeschooling when you don't have the big kid helpers and you just have a bunch of little ones. And I had an overwhelming response requesting that video. So this is that video. So honestly, after hearing that people wanted that video, I got nervous. I'm like, oh goodness, I hope I do this justice because, I'm just a mom. I don't have all the answers. I'm doing the best that I can. So anyways, I'm just going to give you, a few tips and tricks and thoughts that have helped me manage those years. So like I said, those honestly, I would say are the hardest years. So we jokingly refer to those as the trenches because until you really have those big kid helpers and you're just doing everything, it's just hard. So I would say like the magic age is like 8. And then like kids can really be a great help to you as far as like a real help, you know what I mean? Like I don't have to go in and clean that up after them help. Okay, so anyways. Okay, so one of the first things that I really want to say is enjoy these years. So I don't know what scenario you're in. If you have a few littles and like one schooler, like kindergarten, first grade that you're trying to get done. So like in that scenario, don't rush those years by. It's kindergarten and it's first grade. The time with your little ones, like when they're that young, like I would say, first grade and under, you don't get that back. I miss that so much with my older kids, like, because even though I have continued to have children and I've had, many little ones at any given time and always all these interruptions, it's not the same as what it was with my older kids because my younger ones now, they act a little bit older because their influence is their older siblings. Yes, baby. Daisy made a mess. Okay, so they don't act, it's just not as innocent. I don't know how to describe what I'm saying. I hope that y'all hear what I'm saying. Just enjoy those sweet, precious times of them being little because we don't get that back. So we obviously have kids very close in age together. Our first 3 kids are only 13 months apart. So when Taylor, our oldest, was 26 months old, I had our 3rd daughter by that point. So whenever I started doing school, we'll just say starting at kindergarten, okay? I had a kindergartner, a pre-K, a preschooler, a toddler, and a baby because actually I was pregnant and then I had a newborn that year. So in preparing for this video, I've been trying to reminisce and go back to that time in my life. So a lot of how I handled the chaos and being overwhelmed was so the biggest tip was just do school during nap time. I didn't want to do school during nap time. I wanted to be done, before lunch because I was pregnant or I had a newborn and I was tired and my kids all still had quiet time or rest time and I wanted to sit down and rest myself. So I really made sure that I got our schooling done in the morning because the afternoon time was more of a chill time for me and I needed that. So doing school during nap time wasn't an answer to me is what I'm getting at. So the biggest thing that I did was I included the little kids. So whatever I had for Taylor, I had for Addison, who was 4, and had for Payton, who was 3, and Jackson was like 18 months old maybe. I think that's what he was. Anyways, so that was the biggest help, was to just include them. They want to be a part of whatever's going on. They see their big sister or big brother doing whatever, art project or simply, writing. They want to do school too. So however much that you can incorporate them, it helps. Now, it does cause chaos and it does cause messes too, but those are just some of the things that we kind of have to get over and get past and know that messes clean up. And yes, it might be a little bit loud and just trying to keep them busy. So that's a lot of the recommendations on Pinterest or on YouTube is to create busy boxes or this or that, yes, those things are great and good, but those aren't always practical. So sometimes just getting out something simple as in like a spiral notebook. This is Reagan's notebook. So I have one for Reagan and I have one from Harper, and that keeps them busy that and a pen or a pencil, just a simple notebook that's theirs, you know, keeps them busy. Okay, with all that said, giving them something to have ownership over, something that is theirs, talking about the little kids, it really helps to hold their attention a little bit longer, I think. So whenever they know that it's school time, they know what they can go to and get. So this is Reagan's top book. It is very well loved. This actually I made for Miley, I believe it was. So I just have her name and some dry erase markers in the pocket here so she can practice tracing her name. And then I have, well, there's real life. That's all I got. A baby wipe from them cleaning it. So I have one for each letter of the alphabet that she can go in, she can color, and she can trace. And so whenever it's school time, she comes in and she grabs this, and she knows, you know, she knows exactly what to do because she's mimicking what she's seeing in her older siblings. So that's my tip, is to give them something to have ownership over. A top book that you can create practically free with everything that's available to us on Pinterest. I have many of these that I have made over the years. The spiral bound notebook is the simplest and cheap. You can't get some more simpler or cheaper than that. That really keeps them busy. You can give them a pair of scissors too if you're really trusting. We've only had one scissor accident with hair. So anyways, but let them just cut up paper and make a huge mess. I'm looking at what I wrote down, watercolor. So I actually have saved like all the old watercolors that my kids are like done with, and I give those to the toddlers because it doesn't matter if, you know, the colors get mixed or whatever. That keeps them busy for a long time. So I will kind of do like a video clip here of my favorite activities that I keep on hand to keep them busy. Here, I'm going to show you some of my favorite items that I have on hand for our toddlers. Now, occasionally, I don't have this out all the time. I will have a sensory bin for them to play with. This is just one that I actually had together when my older kids were little. So I had everything in storage, so I just got it out. And this is something that they can play with. This top book is probably what holds Reagan's attention the most. I actually had made this for Miley a long time ago. So this has been around the block a few times, and I just updated it for Reagan. So I have dry erase markers in here, and this is what she will come and grab and is so excited to do school. Whenever I say it's school time, I don't like make her do this. She goes and grabs it because this is her school. And then she can go through the letters of the alphabet, and then I put this in here for her to practice her name. So between the top book and a notebook is typically what holds my toddler's attention the best. And I also keep, you know, like the old cruddy watercolors, so that I don't care if they get messed up if the toddlers have them, basically. But then they can just, you know, have a notebook and do whatever they want in it. Now this is something that I did actually for a hurricane, but mainly Harper likes to get this out. So this was actually some pasta that I had in my pantry that was expired. And so I just threw it in a bin with some Dollar Tree, you know, cooking utensils. And Harper has a lot of fun with this. Harper is 2. And Reagan, who does this, is 3. So, in case y'all didn't know that. So, I have a plethora of things that I have printed over the years and laminated. So, I will rotate through things like this. This is, you know, counting 1 through 20, which is something that I'm working on with, well, Reagan can count, but Harper. But Reagan's learning to put them in order. So, now magnets, simple magnets. This is just my box or my basket of magnets. Get out a metal cookie sheet, or we actually have this, excuse the mess, but we actually have this metal thing up here that's hanging up, and, you know, just a good old refrigerator, and they have a ton of fun with that. Okay, with that said, I wanted to mention, go over to Heartful Mom's channel here on YouTube. I'll link it in the description box below. So she has a really cute idea of having a big plastic tub, like it's a pretty good size, filled with different toys and manipulatives that her little one can do while she's doing school with her older son. And I just love that idea. I haven't actually implemented it yet, but I just thought that was a great idea and I wanted to share it with y'all too. Okay, with homeschooling, we have different seasons of our life. We have what we call baby season. If you happen to have a baby every year like me, that season doesn't end. But during those seasons, whenever you have a newborn, or you're at the end of your pregnancy, or at the beginning of a pregnancy, those seasons are harder to homeschool in. And that's okay. Focusing only on the basics, on the 3 R's, reading, writing, and arithmetic. It is okay to do that in seasons. Our kids get science and history in a wide variety of ways now. So we actually joined a co-op whenever our oldest, goodness, how old was she? Logan was a baby. So it was in like 2014. So Taylor, whatever, I'm not going to do the math right now. Okay. So anyways, our kids receive science and history through our co-op. So I didn't focus on it so much here at the house. Now we did naturally still add that, and the kids get science just by simply going outside and learning about, you know, the bugs that they find, or if they're helping you in the garden, they are learning science hands-on. It's not necessarily in book form, but they are learning and they are picking up. And really at those young ages, that's all that they really need. Okay, so during these crazy seasons of my life, I tend to just focus on the basics in our homeschool. And I'm really okay with that because I know that my kids are learning science and history and culture through the field trips that we do, read alouds, any hands-on project that we have going on outside or inside the house. They are learning in different ways. So another thing is that I did whenever we only had little ones, and I didn't always get science or history done, is whenever I was gone to a doctor's appointment, you notice a lot of this is revolving around my pregnancies. Whenever I was gone to a doctor's appointment, my husband was home. Instead of doing book work, he did science projects with the kids. They did all sorts of things. And I used to give him books on different science experiments and this and that. He finally just ditched the books and he just did his own thing. And they did all sorts of stuff. They did dry ice experiments and soap and water, and I don't know what they did because I wasn't here, but they had a ton of fun. And that was something cool and a good way for my, I almost said my dad, for my husband to get involved. Okay, what I'm getting at is learning doesn't just happen from reading books and doing curriculums and workbooks and inside our house or inside our homeschool. Learning happens all the time. So I want to share two stories with you. We have some families that we're close with. One of them, their kids are all grown and graduated and they have grandkids now that are actually being homeschooled. Well, she says, she's like, we didn't have all these amazing curriculums at our fingertips when she started homeschooling. All she did literally was teach her kids reading, writing, and math and language arts is just the basics. Her children, now I know that this isn't going to be true for everybody. I think they actually had 9 kids too in their family. They did. They had 9 kids. One of her kids is a legitimate rocket scientist. That is his career. That is his job. He is a rocket scientist. One of them is an orthopedic surgeon actually out on the mission field in Africa helping. And I'm like, just hearing those, I mean, and several of her other kids. One of them is also a stay-at-home mom and is homeschooling her children. I can't remember what all of them are, but all of them are successful adults. Now, our children don't have to be a rocket scientist or an orthopedic surgeon in order to be deemed successful. I'm just saying focusing on the basics is okay. Okay, so then we have, this is actually a family member of ours. They happen to have 9 kids as well. It's just a coincidence. So we have 9 kids for those of y'all who don't know that. So anyways, I'm not just using them because of 9 kids. It's just a coincidence. Anyways, so these are actual family members of ours. Now her kids are a little bit more spread out, and I've talked to her many times about homeschooling. I'm like, how do you get it done? She said, I don't really teach science and history. She's like, once they're old enough to read, I start giving them books on science and history, and this is their required reading for part of their school. And then she asks them to narrate back to her or write a paper or something like that. And then on some days she would turn on like the magic school bus for their science. Well, her children, one of them is in the military now. One of them is in school to be an RN. I don't remember what her third who's graduated, what he's doing, but they are all successful and they are all doing the things that God has called them to do. Okay, so another thing that really helped me during this time, and we still do this on occasion, is whenever you have a bunch of rowdy little ones and you're trying to get schoolwork done with your older one, take it outside. Your older child is old enough to know that he needs to sit with you and stay with you while you're reading or practicing spelling words or math facts or whatever, and the little ones can run around and be free. You can give them sidewalk chalk to draw, and you can give your children that are doing school sidewalk chalk to, you know, write math facts or spelling words or something like that. So that's another way to really break it up, and the kids are still learning and your little ones are able to get their energy out. Okay, so these are just a few of my thoughts and ideas and the things that I did to help manage this time whenever I only had little ones and not a lot of big kid helpers. And honestly, I still do a lot of these because even though I do have big kid helpers, they are doing their schoolwork and they're not always there to help me with everything. You know what I mean? So Anyways, I hope that this blessed you. And if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. I love helping moms and homeschool moms. So, don't hesitate to ask. And I hope that you all have a blessed day. Thanks. Bye.